This is Matt Barter here at George Murphy, MHA for St. John's East.
Hi, Matt.
How are you doing?
Good.
Okay. So, Mr. Murphy, what did you want to do when you were a young lad?
Oh my. Well, there's so many things, but I guess in high school set pretty much my course to where I'm at now, because of course in high school I get involved in such things as debating
Yeah.
and in youth parliament. And I set my mind back when I was just a teenager, back in high school, and from my experiences there, that I wanted to serve the public. And one of my lifelong dreams was to serve in the House of Assembly, and here I am.
Here you are in the House.
Yeah.
The lifelong dream of George Murphy has come true.
Yeah, it was a life's dream, you know, and I guess there's a big lesson there into holding on to your dreams and working towards them and everything, and yeah, I'm living it right now.
So, what did you want to do what did you do before you entered politics?
Well, actually, I was a taxi driver, amongst other things. I drove taxi for 23 years. I did a lot of volunteer work, mostly with the consumer group for fair gas prices, and got to know the oil markets and everything pretty good. Advocated for such things as, for example, the HST off all forms of heat. We got that in the budget. Heating rebate programs, worked towards all that. Conservation programming, worked towards that. A lot of things like that. Right now, of course, we're still working on getting regulations for fracking put in place, for example. Footed a bill in the House of Assembly having to do with the protection of roadside workers, emergency workers.
Yes, that's a really big thing right now.
Yeah, the move over legislation. So we've got that through the House of Assembly. That's something that I pursued, and yeah, we're getting things done.
So you find that a lot of the things you did before you entered politics is helping you now?
Oh, absolutely. Advocacy is a big part of it. Getting to know the community is even bigger than that. Getting to know the people that are in the community, the needs of the people that are out there, and basically having your ear to the ground all the time. That's pretty much what politics is all about. Doing what's right for people, what you feel is right for people, and what people are telling you is the main reason why you get into it. And that's it.
So when you were a taxi driver, you'd have to talk to a lot of different people. Do you find that helpful now?
Oh yeah, just driving taxi, of course, getting to know the people and everything that were out there. You were driving all kinds of people, anybody from the bottom end of the salary scale, for example, getting to know their issues as regards to low wages and everything that are out there. That's most of the people that you would meet, including people that were up there in the higher levels, just heading in for a good night down the town. And yeah, I met a lot of people doing that. It was great. One of the best jobs I ever had.
One of the best jobs.
Yep.
So how do you get into taxi driving?
How?
Yeah.
Well, you got to have a driver's license, obviously, a certificate of conduct, a good driving record, and a good knowledge of the city helps. Good with people is a real plus.
Yeah. So, what is the most difficult part of being an MHA?
The most difficult part?
Yes.
Hearing these stories that sometimes you can't do anything about. There are some things that you can't do as an MHA that you'd like to do. People with a lot of issues. You don't run into them a lot, but when you hear a sad story, you know, you keep working towards their ends and hopefully try to make things better for them. So, you know, that's I guess you could say in some ways that's a plus about the job too, because you get to see how the other side lives, you know, and what you get to help out a lot of people that are out there. And it's a stark realization that you know there are some difficulties out there that people have. You know, what I find most about it is that the needs of the one sometimes outweigh the needs of the many, and then there are other issues too where the needs of the many would far outweigh the needs of the few. Just to borrow a line from one of the Star Trek movies, you know, and that saying is pretty much true.
So what would you say is the best part about your job as an MHA?
Meeting people. Yeah, meeting people is probably the most fun part about the job, the best part about the job. Just getting out there in the community and saying hello to folks, it's a real opportunity.
So what would you say is the highlight so far of your political career?
The highlight of my political career would probably It would have to be, I think, the move over legislation. Yeah, that and getting government to institute a moratorium on fracking. Fracking is a new form of drilling, of course, relatively new anyway to us, and getting government to sit back and look at that. But the real highlight, I think, would have to be move over legislation because, again, it was something that took a very short time to do, even though we had it in the pocket, I guess you could say, for a long time. You know, again, it has to do with helping out people, and it was a justice issue too at the same time, as much as it was an issue about keeping workers safe. And I think that was a real highlight.
Okay, so how do you balance your personal life with your professional life?
That's hard. It is very hard because right now, for example, my family's going through a lot. There's a lot of sickness in my family right now. My dad's in hospital and that, so you have to balance your events sometimes with having to look after the needs of your family. The saying is true where they say that blood is thicker than water sometimes. And so sometimes your attention gets diverted by that, and necessarily so. So that's what we're at right now, dealing with that.
Dealing with that.
Yeah.
So what are some hobbies that you have outside of politics?
Outside of politics, I like to play with old radios.
Old radios.
Old radios, yep. In particular CB radios, a couple of shortwave radios and that. But yeah, I play around with them a lot, fix them up a bit, and talk to people on them too. Yeah, it's a great little hobby, and I guess some of your viewers might remember CB radios back in the 70s, you know, movies like Smokey and the Bandit and that. You know, they were a little bit of fun back then. And they were a part of my childhood, and I've been playing with radios ever since. So it's probably about 40, 45 years of history of radios in my blood somewhere. Yeah.
Do you have any other hobbies?
I play music a bit. Yeah, I play guitar. I pick around with the mandolin. I haven't mastered that one yet. And a little bit of banjo.
So what's your favorite music?
Favorite music would have to be, I think, Irish Newfoundland type. Music, anything having to do with the feeling of heritage about it, I call it. My favorite artist of all time would have to be Stan Rogers. And yeah, Stan Rogers is one of my lifelong favorites.
So what's your favorite novel?
Favorite novel? I read a lot of military history, and there's one book that stands out in my mind, not really a novel, I guess, as such, but well, two books basically. There's a book called Air War by a fellow by the name of Edward Jablonski that I'm reading right now, I think probably for about my 20th time. And there's another book called 199 Days at Stalingrad. It's a book by Edmund P. Hoyt. It has to do with, of course, the German attempt at taking Stalingrad and the Russian victory there. So I'm big reading into military history. Quite a lot.
So what's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Forrest Gump. I think right now it'd be Forrest Gump, but amongst my favorites, I guess, again, military history, I can get into that. Schindler's List would have to be a favorite, and Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
That's it. So,
favorite actor was John Wayne.
John Wayne.
I'm into old-time movies.
Old-time movies.
Yeah.
So what's something about you that most people wouldn't know?
Something about me that most people don't know. That's a good one, Matt, because I think everybody knows George Murphy now, and I don't think that I've ever kept anything hidden. What you see is what you get, and yeah. There's really nothing I can think of.
Nothing.
Other than I've been lousy at catching a few trout lately, but
what can you do?
You're trying to say that. You can't do that. Yeah, you take your chances with that, right?
So you started off as a Liberal?
Yeah, I did some work with the Liberal Party years ago, and it didn't conform to my beliefs. Yeah. And so I changed over and worked as a New Democrat later on, and got elected as a New Democrat.
So what are some of your beliefs that made you want to be in the NDP party?
Well, I'm a big advocate, if you will, of consumers out there. I like consumer advocacy, I have a strong belief in the healthcare system and the preservation of it and the expansion of it. That would be number 2, I guess, as regards to that. And number 3, I'm very big on environmental work too, and the New Democrats have pushed a lot of things when it comes to environment, and they continue to pursue it, and that's one of the reasons, several reasons why I guess that I would be a New Democrat today. You have to be a big, strong believer in some of their policy platform ideas, and I happen to be one
of them.
Yeah.
So do you feel that your leader, Lorraine Michael, is good enough to lead you into the next election?
Sure. Absolutely, yeah. She went through the leadership review process and scored 75% on the vote.
Absolutely. Do you see yourself as being leader someday?
Well, I think that you can't be in politics if you don't have aspirations to lead. You shouldn't be in it. One of these days, maybe. It's going to take a few more years of training yet. If those few more years are there. So
maybe when Lorraine retires.
Well, you never know.
You never know.
You never know. You know, it's a long ways down the road for me. So.
Do you see yourself running in federal politics?
I haven't really thought about federal politics, to tell you the truth. It's not that I don't have an interest in federal politics or anything, but the simple fact is that I'm happy in the spot where I'm at right now. And you know, if ever the opportunity came up to run federally, I don't think that I would be able to say that I can't look at it and see what it is. But you know, federal politics involves a lot of time away from home. And I think I would miss my boys, I would miss my family a little bit too much for that right now at the age that they're at. So that's going to be a long time down the road if that ever happens. There's a lot of thinking, a lot of commitment that a politician has to make. You're looking at, for example, a Newfoundland and Labrador politician would have to leave here, and pretty much you're only getting 2 or 3 days home, and then you're 4 days away up in Ottawa, and a lot of time spent on the airplane too besides that. So, you know, there's a huge commitment to become a federal politician.
I do know that being a federal politician, you get to travel more and go to different events and stuff, like say around Canada and even like around the world. So how much do you travel as an MHA?
As an MHA, it all depends what the issue is, really. Like, for example, when I'm in my own district, I don't have very far to go. Confederation building right now is within my district, so I'm in my district all the time. I'm out around on the doorstep, I'm out around the different events and everything. But sometimes there's a provincial issue, a really serious provincial issue that needs to be dealt with. Fracking would be a big issue. Excuse me. So I would travel the province and talk to people about fracking. In particular, I've got some relatives and everything over on the West Coast, so I like to get over there every now and then. So, you know, there's also opportunity there to mix business and pleasure too at the same time. But fracking is a big issue now that's affecting this province. It's a very serious environmental issue, not to mention an issue having to concern the province with its own wealth and the development of its resources. So I like talking about fracking an awful lot, and there's been, well, innumerable times that I've been over on the West Coast talking about that issue.
So how many times did you get to travel outside of the province as an MHA?
Outside of the province?
Yeah.
I haven't been outside the province yet.
Haven't been?
No, not as an MHA. As a private citizen, the only place that I've ever been to has been in the different provinces of Canada. I've never been outside the country. So it's, you know, I love this place. Don't want to be anywhere else, so that's one of the reasons why I haven't traveled a lot. One of these days I'll travel somewhere and see some of the military history, for example, of Normandy or something like that. I'd like to go and see the invasion beaches of D-Day, and you know, those are in my dreams right now. You know, probably not happen for the next couple of years, but yeah, the MHA workers are not taking me outside the province. I'm quite happy with being in the province.
So where do you see yourself in the future?
I don't know.
You don't know.
You know, a new door opens every day, and we don't know what direction God is going to be pointing us in, and that's the way I look at it. And I'm serious about that because, you know, I don't know what my calling is going to be the next day. I do know that I got a lot of things on my bucket list that one of these days I hope to fulfill, and God's giving me the chance right now to be a member of the House of Assembly and practice a little bit of wisdom and learn a little bit more about wisdom and just do right by people. And I'm quite happy with that right now.
So someday when your political career ends, what do you see yourself doing?
What do I see myself doing? One of the other things that's on my bucket list, one of these days, and please God it'll be there one of these days, is to have a little stint as an open eye talk show host.
I know. I'd love that.
And you know, that's, I think a lot of people think about that, and I'm no different, but I still like talking to people, I still like meeting people, and that's one of the things that I want to try one of these days. Yeah.
So you brought up about God. So how does religion play a role in your life, and how much does it help you?
Well, I can't say that I practice religion a lot. I'm not a very big church goer, but anything that I do or anything that I'm thinking about usually has the right thing in mind. And it doesn't matter what the name of your God is, as long as he's the right God for you. God can take many different forms and everything, but still at the same time, I keep some of the old teachings, I guess you could say, in mind whenever I'm talking about an issue. You know, you got to do right by people, and I like to keep that in mind all the time.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy, for speaking with you today.
Mr. Barter, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right.